We have updates on immigration matters, historic record, over 3 million pending cases in U.S. immigration courts. Furthermore, the University of California seeks to prohibit deportation orders in the absence of children. I'll tell you all about it next. Welcome to the Week 52 news section with Quiroga Law Office, a space to share all the latest immigration developments. Here are the most important immigration news of the week. Stay tuned for more updates. Fort Morgan, Colorado welcomes migrants facing asylum challenges, language barriers, and potential deportation. While the county has gained hundreds of new residents, local organizations provide vital support through meetings, legal information, and assistance for migrants. With immigration changes under discussion, the community unites, sharing experiences and supporting job searches. Despite challenges, Fort Morgan shines as a symbol of hope and solidarity. USCIS revolutionizes residency policies for undocumented immigrants. Key changes in residency conditions. USCIS introduced fundamental changes in residency policies for undocumented individuals, detailing guidelines for removing residency conditions. It highlights the possibility of adjusting status even after cancellation notifications if the proper process is followed. Conditional residents must submit the removal form 90 days before reaching the second year of obtaining their status. These updates offer a clearer path to adjusting residency status in the country. The U.S. immigration court system faces a monumental crisis with over 3 million pending cases, overwhelming each judge with at least 4,500 cases. Despite the hiring of more judges during the Biden administration, the pace of new cases surpasses the system's capacity. In the last quarter, nearly 400,000 cases were added, highlighting an urgent need for solutions to this backlog, along with the debate surrounding its resolution. The University of California Immigration Rights Center advocates for banning deportation orders in the absence of unaccompanied children in immigration courts. They argue that children lack control over their appearance and understanding of consequences. Between 2022 and 2023, over 13,000 orders were issued, with 72% of them in absentia. The organization emphasizes due process violations and the need for legal support for these children, preventing future consequences if these orders are enforced. Border Patrol chiefs strongly criticized the Biden administration before the National Security Committee, noting that the mass release of undocumented individuals without consequences is exacerbating the migration crisis. Around 70% of those detained in Yuma were released within the U.S. On the other hand, the CBP One app issued over 1.2 million notices to appear, and 95.8% of the schedule were also released in the U.S.
This has been the news summary for this week, brought to you by Quiroga Law Office. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms. Don't forget to share this news recap so that the entire immigrant community can stay informed and up to date on the most relevant topics that matter to us, immigrants in the United States.